Good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 90 of the Ask the Coach show, where PingSkills answers your table tennis questions. You can find all of our past shows on our website at www.pingskills.com/table-tennis-blog. And while you're there, make sure to sign up for our free newsletter for lots of great table tennis tips. Anyone can ask us a table tennis question by visiting our website and using the Ask the Coach section. For this show, we take a selection of questions from there. Plus, you can ask a question live on the show by going to plus.google.com/plus-pingskills. Find the current show and click on the Q&A button. Today, we're discussing fast blades with slow rubbers, the merits of playing on a small table, serve etiquette, and who is the best penhold player ever. As always, Super Coach Alois Rosario is with me to answer your questions. Welcome, Alois.
Morning, Jeffrey, and we're into the nervous 90s.
Nervous 90s, 90 shows. That's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's a lot of shows. We're on the home stretch to the big century. Yes.
Indeed. Yeah, so thanks everybody for your support. We're getting great feedback about the show, and it's nice to hear your thoughts. And it's great when everybody jumps in and leaves comments on the show, so keep doing that, guys. All right, Alois, we have, as always, some good questions. And let's start with yesterday's PingSkills question of the day, which was, what playing conditions make a difference for you? The floors, the lights, the table?
Yeah, for me, it was always the floors. I found playing on a slippery floor really difficult because I used to rely on my movement a lot. So yeah, if the floor was slippery, I just felt really uncomfortable playing. I could adapt to lights, I could adapt to tables, could adapt to balls, but yeah, for me, floors was the thing that used to really get. And that's why I really liked the Taraflex or the rubberized matting when they brought that in, because it gave you a good grip and a good even surface to play on. So yeah, for me, flooring. What about you, Jeff?
Yeah, and I think that flooring, that bringing in that Taraflex standardized it as well. So if you know that all tournaments can use Taraflex, it's quite good. And at the international level, I guess they're doing that all the time now. But a lot of local clubs, there's still a lot of variation with wooden floors. And yeah, I always found it hard when it was a slippery floor as well, Alois, because I did like to move around and play forehands as well. One other thing I did find interesting was, yeah, moving from small halls to big halls. Wasn't a real big problem, but I always noticed a big difference initially, and it did take, a little while to warm up and adjust to playing. If you were training like in a small hall and then went and played in a big hall, or the opposite, I found it, it just took a little bit to adjust to.
Yep. Interesting. The big halls were a big issue, weren't they? Because most of the time we train in little rooms or little halls, and then having to go and play bigger tournaments. Even if it's a local big tournament in a big gymnasium, it can make a big difference. So it's for those sort of things, it's really worth getting to your tournament venues early, and just if you get half an hour to an hour at the venue beforehand where you can just have a bit of a hit, start to get the feel and adjust to those sort of things, I think it really, really helps. So there's a tip for you.
Good advice, Alois. All right, that moves us on to the PingSkills question of the day, which is, which player do you want to play like? So whose game do you want to emulate? Leave a comment, let us know. You can do that on our website. Go to pingskills.com/table-tennis-blog. Find this show and leave a comment. Love to hear from you. All right, now we talked a little bit about this yesterday, Alois, but the ITTF Legends Tour for 2015 is now finished. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so good, interesting results. So the winner was Jean-Michel Save. So he beat Jorgen in the final. So he beat Waldner in the semis, beat Jorgen in the final. So that's a good effort. But he's still quite an active player. So it does make a real difference if you're training regularly. So yeah, he cleaned it up. It was great to see Waldner playing again. You know, he's still got a little bit of the magic. His hook forehands and he's just impeccable blocking. So yeah, good to see him. The other one that really surprised me was Gatien. So Gatien played beautifully. Like really looks really fit. You know, still moving around and playing forehands and pivoting. So I mean, it's difficult at that age to maintain the same type of game that you played when you were young, especially when you're relying on moving around a lot. You know, we saw with Jiang Jialiang in the first round against Waldy. Jiang won 2 world championships in 1985 and 1987, and he just relied so much on his accurate hitting and moving around and using his forehand. He was a Penhold short pimple attacker. So yeah, and to maintain that type of game when you're into your 50s is really difficult. So yeah, a lot of players adjust to an older style of game. You know, utilising both sides, backhand and forehand, and being a little bit more passive. But yeah, Gatien looked great, just getting around and still getting in there and using his forehand and pivoting and half volleying. So yeah, good, really good to see. Good initiative by the ITTF to get these guys out there and wheel them out again and let us have a bit of a trip down memory lane.
Absolutely, and definitely generated a lot of interest, and yeah, it's got to be good for table tennis, so well done, the ITTF. On a related note, Brox asked about Waldner. He said he watched the tour yesterday, and he saw Waldner lose, but he expected him to win. So, was there something Waldner forgot to do, or is there something that made him lose? Brock wants to know if you've got any ideas on this.
Yeah, he forgot to practice 5 days a week for the last couple of years. That's what he forgot to do.
Yeah, whereas Save has been practicing more, I imagine, being an active player.
Yeah, Save's still doing a lot more training, so yeah, it makes a difference. And you know, it's nice to remember what a great player Walden was. But yeah, I mean, you drop off your game a bit if you're not training regularly.
Yeah, that's just a fact, I guess. All right, so let's move on to a question from Sam, who asks, I was thinking whether I could mix a fast blade with slow rubbers, as the next bat I get will probably be customized. This means you could start with slow rubbers. When you want faster rubbers, you can keep the blade and save money. What are your thoughts on this, Alois?
Yeah, so Sam's talking about starting with a base of a fast wood, and with a really slow rubber, and then just being able to increase the speed of the rubber as he progresses. The only thing with that, I mean, it's a good theory. The only thing with that is I don't think that anyone, or not anyone, but you necessarily need a fast blade, even at the top level. So at the top level, the players don't necessarily use a fast blade. They rely more on their rubber for their speed. The blade gives them more of the control and the feel, and the rubber adds the speed. So I think if you get a good quality blade to start off with, not necessarily fast, then you can start to build with your rubber as well. So yeah, the theory is good. You know, start with a slow rubber and then just keep the blade and increase the speed. But I don't think you necessarily need a fast blade to start off with.
Okay, Sam. So yeah, so try maybe like an all-round blade, something like the PingSkills Touch, or you know, the Stiga All-Round Classic, or anything similar to that. There's lots of good choices available, but you'll find that, yeah, as Alois said, with the all-round blade, you can control the speed with the rubbers, like you were saying. So start with some slow rubbers, and then as you progress, move up, and then that blade will last you for years and years and years, as long as you look after it. So yeah, good idea, but we recommend that you start with an all-round type of blade. All right. So the next question is from Akash, who says, if we play table tennis on a small table, is it helpful for us or not? What are the advantages and disadvantages?
Yeah, I mean, it's good as a novelty, and it can just help you with a little bit of touch, but not really. I mean, it's not something that you can really train on because you can't practice your top spins properly. So the only real thing is just being able to improve your touch a little bit, but you can do that on a normal table anyway. So, but it's lots of fun. It's great fun to be able to play on a little table, and I know, Jeff, you're pretty darn good on a small table. I know.
I do like to play on a small table. It is quite fun, yes.
Yeah,
That
and
is.
in an office, you once had a office tournament, I think.
Oh, yes, we did have an office tournament, but I wasn't the best player there. I mean, there's some really good players who specialise on small tables. Greg Linwood was extremely good on a small table compared to his normal. He was a good normal table tennis player, but he was extremely good on the small table
So
and very competitive guy.
what made him good on a small table? And like, because you could beat him pretty comfortably on a big table, right?
Um, that is a good question. Like, if I had figured that out, I would have been able to beat him, Alois. Oh, dear. Yes. Um, and I think, yeah, we were often using bats like that, like hard bats as well. So that changed the game. So, I was used to playing more with the rubber, so lose some of that advantage. I don't know. Good question. Need
You'll
to
have
think
to,
about that.
yeah, you'll have to use the vault, Jeffrey, and work through that problem.
I will, exactly. Good idea. All right. Thomas says, recently I played with someone with a lot of experience and my soft, short pendulum serve won me some points. And he criticised this serve and the points I won by it. So I'm wondering if there is an unwritten rule that you're not supposed to serve like this.
No, Thomas, just sounds like sour grapes to me. I think he was just a bit upset about not being able to return that serve. No, so Thomas was talking about doing a nice soft, short backspin serve that just went over the net. Nah, completely legitimate. Go for it. If you find a serve that someone doesn't like, utilize it. You're helping them by giving them something new to learn and to be able to adjust to. So, yeah, there's no etiquette about that, not at all.
Absolutely not. Just keep using that serve. Absolutely. That's part of the game, Thomas. Serving is a critical part of the game, and the more you can improve your serve, the better. So keep working on it and keep serving it. And like Alois said, you're teaching the other guy something. He needs to learn that, and once he learns how to return those types of serve, he's going to have more fun with table tennis as well. So thanks for the question, Thomas. All right, Alois. Yeah, Pirouette has asked, who is the best penhold player ever?
Yeah, well, another good question. For me, Chung Si Tung, who won 3 world championships in a row, 1961, 63, and 65, would have to be right up there because, I mean, winning 3 worlds in a row is pretty special. We've got a link there to a match where he's playing Stellan Bengtsson in the final of the Swedish Open one year. So I think it was about 1970, so after his prime. But yeah, interesting to watch a bit of footage of him and see how he played. Plays a little bit like we were talking about Zhang Zhiliang, so he gets around and tries to use forehand all the time. But it is interesting to go and watch that match, and we'll put the link on there between Chung Si Tung and Stellan. So Stellan, I think, won his world championship around that time too, 1970. So he was at his peak. The game has developed since then. I mean, now if you watch the guys playing now and just top spinning so strongly on both sides, it's a good comparison. But I mean, those guys at their time were right at the top. They were really leaders in world table tennis. So yeah, it's good to watch a bit of black and white footage.
Great. So make sure you visit PingSkills.com, click on the table tennis blog link to find this show where you'll see all the notes, and we'll have the link there so you can go and watch that match. Very interesting indeed. So on a related topic, Baswa has asked, who is the best Chinese table tennis player ever?
Yeah, well, it's a hard one, isn't it? I mean, Wang Li Chin's up there, but I mean, Chuang Tung obviously is you know amazing to win 3 worlds in a row. Yeah, Wang Li Chin, I'm not sure of his exact record, but yeah, he's certainly done a lot. You know, quite a few worlds, and yeah, I don't know exactly. What
Mm.
about Jeff? Any ideas? I mean, there's
No, so many good choices, aren't there? I mean, just over the years they kept producing great players. It's
yeah,
you
yeah,
were talking about Zhang Zhilang winning 2 worlds, when the Swedes were quite good. So compared to the competitions, excellent. Kongling Huey had a great record. Yeah, Wang Liqin obviously up there, and then even the players playing now are you know very
yeah,
building up impressive records.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, Zhang Jike, Zhang Jike, Ma Long. Geez, I mean, list goes on and on. Yeah, if you're at the top of that pile, you're pretty good.
Indeed. All right. So we've got a few questions about bats, Alois, and Kuna Jalit has asked, what is the best table tennis bat?
One that doesn't miss. There's yeah, so there's no one bat that's the best or not the best. There are literally thousands of options that you can choose with the wood and the rubber and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, the thing is, just find a reputable company with a good name in table tennis, and you'll see if they've got a wide range of equipment and a starting from beginner all the way through. And then it's a matter of just finding the bat that's right for you. So if you go and play with a bat that Zhang Jike's playing with, it might not suit you at all because it might be too fast or whatever. But you need to find a bat that's right for you. So just if you went and used Zhang Jike's bat, you're not going to have the best machine. It's not like Formula One where if you haven't got the best car, you can't win. So yeah, just find something that's good for you, and we do have a video on that that we'll put a link to.
Great, yeah, and it talks about different levels of bat compared to your level of table tennis. So watch that video. I'll put a link in the show notes. And thank you also Haroon, who asked the same question. So hopefully that helps you out as well. All right, and lastly, a big question from Brock, who says, how can table tennis be a really popular sport? And it's
Yeah,
an interesting question, Alice, because in some ways it already is a really popular sport.
yeah, it is. I think it's played in 220 countries around the world, so it's getting up there with popularity. Um,
Yeah, and even on views on at the Olympic Games and stuff, it rates really well amongst all the sports.
yes, and yeah, I mean, I think again, ITTF have started to do some really good things with their promotion of players. We banged on about it a bit on this show about just we needing to know more about the players and start to get a bit more information about them. So we start to empathise with them when they're playing, and they've started an off the table series where they interview uh, different top players, get behind the scenes a little bit, get to know the players. I found them really interesting. There was one on Ding Ning the other day, and that was great. We got to see Ding Ning and how she started playing. It was her mum that got her into table tennis. Her mum was a basketballer. Those sort of things start to help you um, to relate to the players and get to know the players. When you start watching them, you start thinking, "Wow, I want Ding Ning to win," because I know a little bit about her. And then there's all those other things about just promoting the sport as well, isn't it? As far as at the grassroots or at the beginner level.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess in countries where table tennis is not one of the most popular sports, that's really important at that grassroots level. Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting question, Brock. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I mean, at that grassroots level, and again, there's been a lot of development work done around the world, in some really small countries to just start to introduce the game to some small countries. I know in the Oceania region, which is Australia, New Zealand, and then the South Pacific Islands in general. A lot of work's been done on promoting the game to those smaller countries, and it's paid really good dividends. There's a lot of table tennis being played in pockets around all those countries now.
Indeed. Very good. All right. Haroon's asked another question, which is interesting because we did a little bit of filming outdoors recently, Alois, and Haroon's question is, do you have any tips for playing in high amounts of wind?
Yes, don't. It's
It
just
is so
impossible.
difficult, isn't it? I couldn't believe just how hard it is once the wind builds up. It's really, really difficult.
Yeah, in the past we've had to do like little exhibitions and games at primary schools outdoors, and I've seen just how difficult it is. Like even if there's no wind or just a little bit of breeze, the ball just curves. I mean, the ball's so light, so it just curves in the air. So I don't have any tips at all about playing in the wind. You just don't do it. It's just too difficult. Table tennis, indoor sport, not an outdoor sport.
That's right. Get indoors, if at all possible.
But
Um,
I did actually see they developed an outdoor table tennis ball.
isn't
Um,
it right?
yeah, and it's just heavier. I haven't actually played outdoors with an outdoors table tennis ball. I played indoors, and it felt a bit strange. But maybe you can have a search up of that. I can't even remember who made the balls, but when I was down at Coburg, Bruce Carter got me to have a hit with one. Oh, this was about a year ago or more, perhaps. So yeah, maybe research into that. See if you can find some outdoor table tennis balls.
Yes,
They're
try
probably
that, Haroon. See if that helps you at all. All right, and lastly, Alois Brock asks, how helpful is a robot?
yeah. So robots are good for a particular purpose. If you haven't got a training partner, and if you want to develop just a stroke, so if you want a repetitive practice of a technique, they can be good. The newer robots are also good at playing the balls in patterns, so you could do footwork drills, etc. Their big limitation, though, is that you are not seeing the other player playing their stroke and starting to adapt to what they're doing as well. So, getting the cues of what's happening with their bat or their body before they hit the ball. So, yeah, in a situation where you don't have a practice partner, great. Utilize the robot and do the repetitive learning of technique and strokes.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for your questions. That wraps up show 90. Make sure you visit pingskills.com, sign up for our free newsletter, and look at all the great videos on there. And have a great weekend, everybody. And thank you, Alois.
Thanks, Jeff, and have a good weekend, PingSkillers. See you.
Indeed. Catch you, everyone. Enjoy lots of table tennis over the weekend. Bye.